if I told you you could live forever? With just a couple of brain scans and some simple tests, I could give you immortality. Or maybe not immortality, but you would live for thousands and thousands of years. That sounds like a pretty good deal, right? But you may be thinking to yourself, what's the catch? Well, the catch is that the you that lives forever isn't really you. It's a digital clone of the you that exists at this very moment. And that clone would exist for thousands of years, either downloaded into a new body or uploaded into a virtual reality simulation to live the rest of their lives in peaceful and wonderful bliss. So you may be thinking to yourself, well, that sounds like it would suck, not getting to live forever in a peaceful eternity, but the part where this version of you doesn't get to experience it. That's like winning the lottery, but instead of you getting the money, they just give it to your brother or sister, and they don't get to share any of the money with you. It sounds pretty shitty, right? Well, let me welcome you to the world of SOMA. SOMA is a psychological horror game that was released in 2015, and this game is a real stinker, and the horror runs deep in this game, and in my opinion, it's way more terrifying than a regular old jump scare. This game questions the very meaning of what it is to be alive, and I'm gonna tell you all about it in this video, so buckle up and strap on, strap in. Never mind. So I recently played and finished the game SOMA. No, that's not the right... No, not that one either. No, that's not right either. There you go. There it is. SOMA is, like I said before, a survival horror game, but it's set in a colossal research base called Pathos 2, and it's located somewhere at the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean. Pathos 2 was initially built around a giant 20-mile-long gun that's meant to safely and more cost-effectively launch satellites into orbit, but that's not how it started out. It started out as a simple mining operation back in the 60s, but eventually evolved to shoot satellites into space. At the start of the game, we wake up from a nightmare as our protagonist, Simon Jarrett. He answers a phone call informing him that he is to go meet this doctor guy for some type of treatment, and he's reminded to drink some sort of tracer fluid that'll help the brain scan to work correctly. So we ruffle around Simon's apartment and eventually make our way outside to the testing facility. So far, we've learned about Simon that he was in a car crash that killed his girlfriend, Ashley. And he owns or at least has a manager's position at a comic book store in Toronto, Canada. And due to the car crash, he now has some pretty severe brain damage. And the doctors gave him months left to live because of it. So we can infer that somehow Simon got in contact with this Dr. Munchie guy to set up some research type testing to help cure his brain damage. So a subway ride later and we arrive at some dingy little office which looks more like a chiropractor's office that's currently in remodeling than a brain injury clinic. So a red flag there, but we keep it moving, hoping that we're going to be fixed and everything will work out. We solve a little puzzle and we're led into the office where Dr. Munchie stands, and we also get a second red flag when we learn that he's not actually a doctor, just an undergrad student working on his thesis. Thesis is Simon. Simon is at the center of this dude's project. So Mr. Munchie tells Simon to have a seat in his chair with some contraption hanging above it. He's gonna run a scan of Simon's brain to determine the best course of action to take in curing his brain damage. The scan will allow Munchie to run an infinite amount of tests to figure out exactly what's wrong, and the computer system can fix his brain the best way that it knows how to, and he'll be cured. So the scan boots up, we hear the machine run and flash, and just before the scan begins, we hear Simon tell Munchie,
"Will this hurt?"
It's just a scan. It'll hurt about as much as getting your picture taken.
Indians thought cameras would steal their souls.
which is a nice little dash of foreshadowing if I ever heard it. So after the scan completes, we wake up in a strange dark room with machines whirring and beeping, and It seems that we have been teleported, or at least transported, to a strange facility with no knowledge of its existence before. So we break out of the room, we woke in, and we begin to explore our surroundings, walking around looking for anyone to tell us what's going on, until eventually the lights in the facility go out and we start to hear like loud machine-like footsteps patrolling the nearby area. And it's pretty clear immediately that whatever this thing is, it's not friendly. So we escape the machine predator and eventually we find ourselves in a large like engine room, and after powering up said engine, we are introduced to this game's main supporting role, Catherine Chung. She explains to Simon that he needs to make his way over to Site Lambda because that's where she is located. Before Simon has a chance to ask anything else, the transmission just cuts off. So the player makes their way to Site Lambda and on the way encounters a person named Amy, who is lying injured on the floor of one of the many rooms in this underwater base. She appears to be in critical condition and has like tubes coming out of her everywhere in multiple places, and they're all attached to this weird growth on the wall. But the growth appears to be the only thing keeping her alive, and if the player removes the tube sticking out of her, she will die. Continuing on from that, we find an underground shuttle system afterwards and we climb on board where some much needed exposition is given, and I'll just let the video play here.
Welcome to Pathos 2, your expressway to the stars. What started as a thermal mining operation in the 60s has now become home to the Omega Space Gun, the world's most affordable way to launch satellites and deep space probes. Our unique Atlantic Ocean location allows for this gigantic coil gun, running longer than a marathon, to safely launch projectiles without risk of damaging the payload with risky combustion. The station has multiple sites and has a diverse staff of engineers and scientists. Together, they are able to produce, assemble, and launch the world's most sophisticated spacecrafts. In addition to our principal operation, Pathos 2 is also the home for multiple research projects within the marine sciences, including hydroculture, turbulence, and deep-sea construction. We are now leaving Upsilon for Lambda. Lambda is Pathos 2's shipping dock and transportation hub. There, you will be able to find shuttle trains leading to all the other parts of the station and transports to the surface.
After the video plays, the shuttle crashes because, of course it does. You can't have anything nice in this game. But just before we boarded the shuttle, if the player looks around and actually listens to the audio logs they find throughout the game, they can learn some more valuable info. On the floor is an audio log that explains that a comet struck the Earth, rendering everything and everyone on the surface of the Earth dead. Only those living on Pathos 2 were the survivors, which was some useful knowledge to me, and it's the only reason I actually always listen to all the data buffers and audio logs in this game, and I read everything I came across. Okay, so anyways, back to the story. We trudged through the rest of the way to Lambda and on the ocean floor, and we eventually arrived there. Upon entering, we encounter a very freaky looking enemy with weird glowing bulbous things on its head. These enemies are very, very aggressive, and they'll attack you the longer you look at it, and if you make any noise and it catches you, of course. We don't really know much about them for now, but we avoid it and we finally come face to face with Catherine, who is a damaged robot laying on the ground. We learned that Catherine had her consciousness downloaded also along with Simon, and somehow her data was uploaded into a robot, leaving her here all alone until she came into contact with Simon. She tells us all about her project before everything went to shit, which is called the Ark, which is a virtual reality she began working on just after the asteroid destroyed the surface of the Earth, wiping out civilization as we know it in the year 2103. It was supposed to be a last-ditch effort to save humanity, giving the remaining humans a habitable environment to live in. Along with explaining the Ark, Catherine also informs Simon, or the player character, however you want to look at it, that they're actually a walking, talking diving suit with electronics incorporated to keep it moving. This is where we learn what happened after the scan, and why we find ourselves in the predicament we currently are in. So Simon's consciousness was copied in the scan, and somehow his data was retrieved and uploaded into a corpse in a diving suit, with a mechanism containing his mind attached where the corpse's head is supposed to be, leaving 2 glowing red dots in the place of eyes. Surprisingly, Simon takes this news fairly well, but to be real, he actually probably doesn't think about it at first. It's a product of his subconscious protecting him from the reality he currently finds himself in. And if that's not weird enough, Simon actually woke up from his brain scan taken in the year 2015 in the year 2104, 1 year after the death of Earth. Catherine asks Simon to download her brain scan into the utility tool we use throughout the whole game. That way she can be with him throughout the whole journey. She has Simon run into the other room to check on her project, the Ark, and figure out where it is. Upon doing so, we learn that the Ark wasn't launched into space by the real Catherine, like the copy Catherine thought she did, and it's now located somewhere in the station Tau, which is also on Pathos 2, but a little ways away. So here is where we get the main quest of the game, to locate the Ark and then launch it into space. But there's a catch, because there always is. The whole time trying to complete this task, we are pursued by either robots or monsters or robot monsters, all set to attack us by the cancerous artificial intelligence developed by Dr. Johann Ross, in which he named the WOW. Now, it is clear here that Frictional Games did take some inspiration from 2001 Space Odyssey with the whole terrifying one-track mind AI focused on completing the mission at any cost, except the WOW's main mission is to keep humans alive at any cost necessary, which is why throughout SOMA we find multiple robots with human consciousness uploaded unwillingly into them, and also why throughout the game we find many humans completely incapacitated but kept alive on life support using a substance called structure gel, often deforming these people and most of the time turning them into monsters, like my pal Terry Akers. Terry Akers was a crew member of Pathos 2, and this is him here. I know, he's a good-looking gentleman, am I right? Well, eventually he goes mad after ingesting a lot of structure gel. He eventually became another one of the WoW's mutated monsters, and he turns into an enemy that Simon has to avoid throughout an entire level, actively hunting Simon as he runs around looking for the components to fix an elevator in order to advance to the next level of the game. Terry Akers really pissed me off at first because I didn't realize that he had arms, so the whole time I would run away and hide from this guy, but he would be able to open the doors I had closed behind me in order to evade him. So at first I was confused how he was able to open these doors. Like, what was he opening them with? His fucking junk? Like, so, but I realized while editing this video that he actually did have arms, and I'm just stupid. But don't hate me because of that. Don't make fun of me, please. I'm like, I have the ego of a 12-year-old. I'll cry. Towards the end of this story, we come across the man that actually designed the WoW, or what's left of him at least. I mentioned him before, but now his name is more relevant, Johann Ross. He starts communicating to Simon as he's trying to reach the site Tau, and eventually when we reach site Tau, he shows himself to us, insisting that we destroy the WoW by letting it drink our infected blood from touching all the weird growths on the walls throughout the game that actually serve as health packs to heal the player whenever they're in trouble or they're damaged. We kill the WoW, and the mutated but still sentient Johann Ross turns on us, trying to kill us instead. He is then yeeted into the stomach of a giant sea creature, and we make our escape as the station comes crashing down behind us. And then we make our way to Phi. Once we've sent the Ark there, we put it on a conveyor belt and it travels all the way to Phi while we have to run around and do this and that in order to get there. So at the end of the story, we launch the Ark into space, and at the same time Catherine makes copies of us both to launch into space with the Ark. The Ark launches and the mission was a success. The game's practically over, but Simon and Catherine still remain on the bottom of the ocean. Simon is confused and upset, but Catherine says,
Simon, I can't keep telling you how it works. You won't listen. You know why we're here. You were copied onto the Ark. You just didn't carry over. You lost the coin toss. We both did. just like Simon and Omicron, just like the man who died in Toronto 100 years ago.
Their copies get to live on the Ark for the next hundreds of thousands of years in perfect eternity. But Simon gets to die alone in the bottom of a trench in the bottom of the ocean. It's a pretty sad ending, but to be honest, I kind of saw it coming. After the first copy is made of Simon earlier on in the game, and the player can choose to either kill the old copy of themselves or leave them to eventually suffocate and die, or wake up and be forced to deal with all the monsters we just dealt with. This game was really deep, and it made me think about the manner of my own existence and what it really means to be human. Is being human being able to feel? Because in this game, Simon still felt, and multiple robots in the game could feel their surroundings and reacted to pain. And they were able to talk and reason, and they had consciousness. So what makes us human? Is it having a soul? What is a soul? It seems like Simon's soul was copied. Do you think he still gets into heaven? I have so many questions about this, but I'm not really smart enough, nor do I have the time to get into these matters. Plus, thinking that hard kind of just makes my brain hurt. I just wanted to talk about this game because I thought it was really fucking cool and it had a great story, but I also forgot to mention that there is the true ending to this game. And after the credits roll, it shows Simon waking up in the Ark, or the copy of him at least, so that's kind of a happy ending. You don't really get to see the Ark. I kind of wish I could have saw more of it, but it might be cool to have a sequel that takes place on the Ark, and like maybe the WoW infects the Ark too, or some shit. I don't know, that would be cool. I don't know, Frictional Games, make a sequel, because I really fucking love this game. But yeah, anyways, it's been real, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and drop a comment if you're a content creator so I can follow you back. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. See you later.